The Order, aka the Silent Brotherhood, was a neo-Nazi terrorist group active in the US in the early 1980s. Inspired by the novel The Turner Diaries, they aimed to overthrow the government and carry out a white supremacist revolution by eliminating non-whites. The group funded itself through armed robberies, and it was responsible for the 1984 murder of radio host Alan Berg. In December 1984, leader Robert J. Matthews was tracked to a house on Whidbey Island where he died in a fire after a shootout with the FBI. Many members were later convicted for racketeering and the order fell apart. The National Socialist Underground was a German neo-Nazi terror cell active from 2001 to 2010. Led by Uwe Mundlos, Uwe Böhnhardt and Beate Zschäpe, the group operated in hiding with the help of over 100 supporters who provided weapons and funds. They were responsible for several murders targeting immigrants, the killing of a policewoman, multiple bombings and 14 bank robberies. In 2011, after a failed robbery, Mundlos and Böhnhardt were found dead in a burned-out motorhome, allegedly a murder-suicide. The same day, their hideout in Zwickau exploded, with Zschäpe suspected of setting the fire before later turning herself in. The NSU's crimes were the deadliest attacks in Germany since the Red Army faction era. The Aryan Brotherhood is a neo-Nazi prison gang and organized crime syndicate in the US with an estimated 20,000 members and splinter groups like the Aryan Circle. Founded in 1964 at California's San Quentin State Prison in response to the militant black guerrilla family, the Brotherhood was formed by white inmates seeking to protect themselves. The gang grew rapidly, enforcing a strict blood-in, blood-out rule, meaning initiation often involved murder, and leaving the gang was nearly impossible without deadly consequences. Known as the oldest and most notorious racist prison gang in the US, the Aryan Brotherhood has a reputation for controlling prison violence, drug trade, and other activities like extortion, prostitution, and murder for hire. Though it comprises a small portion of the prison population, it is responsible for a disproportionate number of murders. The group operates in a hierarchical structure led by a 12-man council and a 3-man commission. Members use symbols like shamrocks, swastikas, and SS signs to identify themselves, and new recruits are often expected to commit murder to gain acceptance. The Atomwaffen Division, aka National Socialist Resistance Front, is a neo-Nazi terrorist network founded in 2013 by Brandon Russell in the US. The group quickly expanded internationally to countries like the UK, Canada, Germany, Brazil and Argentina, forming offshoots like the Feuerkrieg and Sonnenkrieg divisions. Known for extreme violence, the Atomwaffen Division advocated for guerrilla warfare to overthrow governments and create a white ethno-state. Its ideology combined neo-Nazism, esotericism and accelerationism, using terrorism to destabilize societies and incite revolution. Members of the group idolized figures like Adolf Hitler or Osama bin Laden and engaged in violent acts against racial minorities. They were linked to at least 8 murders in the US since 2017, as well as cases of assault, bomb plots, kidnapping and torture. Their activities included burning US flags and plotting to destroy power grids and water systems. Atomwaffen's offshoots like the Sonnenkrieg division in the UK carried out similar acts, including mass murder plans, plotting the assassination of Prince Harry, whom they called a race traitor, and bombings. Despite claiming to disband in 2020, the group rebranded under names like the National Socialist Order, continued recruiting globally and allied with groups like the Satanic Order of Nine Angles. It's banned as a terrorist organization in several countries. The Aryan Nations were once the ideological backbone of US neo-Nazism. Founded in the 70s by Richard Gerndt Butler in Idaho, they merged Nazi ideology with Christian identity beliefs. They believed white Aryans are God's chosen people while portraying Jews as the offspring of the devil and non-whites as subhuman. Butler famously called his Hayden Lake compound the international headquarters of the white race. And throughout the 1980s and 90s, the group hosted large gatherings of neo-Nazis, KKK members and racist skinheads. The group was heavily involved in domestic terrorism, promoting race war rhetoric and associating with violent extremists. Notably, in 1998, Aryan Nations security guards mistook a Native American family's car backfire for gunfire, shot at the vehicle, and then brutally beat the victims. This led to a $6 million lawsuit that bankrupted the group and forced the sale of their compound. Aryan Nations also had ties to acts of terrorism, including Buffer 040's 1999 shooting spree at a Jewish community center and another member's failed attempt to start a race war in 2004 with a Molotov cocktail attack on a synagogue. Declining after Butler's death in 2004, the group splintered into factions, with Sadistic Souls being one of the last remnants. Combat 18 is a neo-Nazi terrorist organization founded in 1992 in the UK, later expanding to Canada, France, the US and Germany. Originally created as a stewarding group for the British National Party to protect events from anti-fascists, it quickly became devoted to violence and rejected electoral politics entirely. The 18 in its name stands for the initials of Adolf Hitler. The group has been linked to numerous murders of immigrants, minorities, dissidents, and even internal power struggles. Most notably, members were suspected in the assassination of German politician Walter Lübcke. Affiliated with Blood and Honor, Combat 18 is on the Canada terrorism list and banned in Germany. The Wotanjugend is a hardcore militant neo-Nazi network that operates primarily online, spreading propaganda with Nazi symbols like Wotan runes and the Black Sun. Originally founded in Russia in 2008 by members of a neo-Nazi band, the group later moved to Ukraine, where it became linked to the far-right Azov movement. Its ideology blends white supremacism and esoteric Nazism, including the deification of Adolf Hitler. The name combines Wotan, the old Germanic god, with Jugend, the German word for youth, inspired by the Hitler Youth. Many of its members opposed Putin and supported Ukraine's 2014 protests. With the outbreak of the Russia-Ukraine war, some joined the Azov Battalion. The group has an international reach, with cells found in places like Prague, and has praised far-right terrorists like Breivik, McVeigh, and the Christchurch shooter. The Wotanjugend also engages in racial theory lectures, firearms training and knife fight tournaments. In 2018, its leader Alexei Levkin met with members of the violent American neo-Nazi gang Rise Above movement. Blood and Honor is a neo-Nazi music promotion network and extremist political group founded in the UK by Ian Stewart Donaldson in 1987, with divisions in the US and Australia. Blood and Honor became infamous for organizing white power music events that often led to violent clashes. One notorious incident was the 1992 Battle of Waterloo in London, where they fought anti-fascist protesters for 2 hours, leading to multiple stabbings. The group has been banned in multiple countries, including Germany, Spain and Russia, while labeled a terrorist organization in Canada. The Hammerskins, founded in Dallas, Texas in 1988, are one of the oldest and most violent neo-Nazi skinhead groups in the US. Known for their connection to the white power music scene and anti-Asian and anti-Muslim rhetoric, they have expanded internationally to Canada, Germany, Australia and other countries. Despite claiming to be leaderless, they actively recruit members and encourage them to join the military to gain combat experience for an anticipated race war. The group hosts events like Hammerfest to celebrate their ideology and fallen members, but their real legacy is in violence. Hammerskin members have been involved in assaults, harassment and even mass shootings, most infamously the 2012 Sikh temple attack in Wisconsin, where Wade Michael Page, a Hammerskin member, killed 7 people. The Base is a neo-Nazi accelerationist paramilitary group formed in 2018 by American Ronaldo Nazzaro with ties to Atomwaffen Division. Active in the US, Canada, Australia, South Africa and Europe, the group has been designated as a terrorist organization in several countries. The Base is fiercely anti-Semitic and dedicated to preparing its members for violent resistance against the government. Its members are trained in survivalism and paramilitary skills with the goal of inciting a race war, believing society needs to collapse for a white ethno-state to emerge from the ruins. Unlike groups that seek mass appeal, the Base operates through small, terroristic cells, recruiting committed extremists to act on their violent ideologies. They use a strict vetting process to ensure recruits are ready for violence, organizing hate camps for training. Recently, members of the base in Georgia were charged with conspiracy for plotting to murder an anti-fascist couple. The National Socialist Movement is a neo-Nazi organization and political party in the US, founded in 1974 in St. Paul, Minnesota, by Robert Brennan and Clifford Harrington. Once the most prominent neo-Nazi group in the country, its influence has dwindled in recent years, though it remains classified as a hate group. The NSM seeks to transform the US into a white ethno-state, barring Jews, non-whites and LGBTQ individuals from citizenship. Members openly celebrate Hitler's birthday, and the group has been linked to violent rallies, riots and crimes. In 2016, they organized a Sacramento rally together with the Traditionalist Worker Party. This turned into a bloody riot, and in 2017, they participated in the infamous Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, where a counter-protester was murdered in a car ramming attack. Since 2019, the group has been led by Bert Colucci, who in 2022 was arrested for attacking a Jewish man during a rally. The Nordic resistance movement is the largest neo-Nazi group in Sweden, with branches in Norway, Denmark, Iceland and formerly Finland, where it was banned in 2020. It operates both as a movement and a political party in Sweden, though its real reputation comes from its violent anti-democratic activities. The group openly advocates for a pan-Nordic neo-Nazi state, even suggesting the inclusion of the Baltic countries, and claims bloodshed will be necessary to achieve its goals. The movement is classified as a terrorist organization due to its paramilitary training, weapons stockpiling and violent attacks. Members have carried out bombings on refugee camps in Göteborg, Sweden, and physically attacked political opponents and journalists. They regularly distribute propaganda, glorify Adolf Hitler and Corneliu Codreanu, and denounce immigration in their public speeches. The Nazi Lowriders are a neo-Nazi organized crime syndicate and prison gang mainly operating in Southern California. Formed in the 1970s within the California Youth Authority, the gang was created by the Aryan Brotherhood to serve as middlemen for their criminal operations. By the 1980s, Aryan Brotherhood leader John Stinson was actively recruiting young skinheads in juvenile detention centers, laying the groundwork for the NLR to become a major force. Lowrider members are required to be at least half Caucasian, and their ideology centers on extreme racial hatred, particularly toward black people. Over time, the NLR grew into its own powerhouse, surpassing the Aryan Brotherhood in prominence within California's prison system. Their rapid expansion ties to other white supremacist groups like Public Enemy No. 1, the Ku Klux Klan, and outlaw gangs like the Hells Angels and Mongols solidified their influence. Known for extreme violence, the gang engages in narcotics trade and is responsible for numerous assaults and attempted murders. Today, the Nazi Lowriders remains one of the fastest growing and most dangerous white prison gangs in California. The Russian National Unity was a neo-Nazi and ultra-nationalist group founded in 1990 by former army commando Alexander Bakashov, advocating for a racially pure Russia through the expulsion of Jews, Armenians, Georgians, Azeris, and Central Asians. Despite openly using Nazi symbolism, calling himself a National Socialist, and celebrating the rise of Nazi Germany, Bakashov denied supporting Nazi ideology. The RNE had 25,000 members and operated in Russian-speaking regions beyond Russia itself. The group was notorious for racist violence, including the desecration of Jewish and Muslim graves, physical assaults and murder. Banned in Moscow in 1999, internal conflicts led to the group's decline by the year 2000. The Golden Dawn was a neo-Nazi criminal organization and former political party in Greece that gained prominence during the 2009 financial crisis, becoming the third most popular party by 2015. Its founder, Nikolaos Michaloulaikos, declared himself the party's Führer and pushed for a return to military dictatorship, openly admiring Hitler and denying the Holocaust. The group's ideology combined neo-Nazism, ultranationalism and irredentism, advocating for a greater Greece while opposing the EU, immigrants and minorities. Golden Dawn heavily borrowed from Nazi symbolism, using similar salutes, slogans and aesthetics, and its militant wing carried out vigilante attacks, hate crimes and assassinations. In 2013, its members murdered a Pakistani immigrant and an anti-fascist activist. A massive criminal trial, often called the biggest Nazi trial since Nuremberg, concluded in 2020 with the party's leadership convicted of running a criminal organization. The Afrikaner Resistance Movement is a neo-Nazi white supremacist political organization in South Africa, founded in 1973 by Eugène Terre Blanche. Advocating for an independent Boer Afrikaner Republic, the AWB believed apartheid South Africa was too liberal and sought to re-establish the old Boer republics. The group embraced extreme anti-Semitism, calling for the extermination of South Africa's Jewish population. During the transition to democracy in the 1990s, AWB members committed terror acts against black South Africans in a desperate bid to halt the end of the apartheid. After Terre Blanche was murdered in 2010 by a farm worker, Stein von Rönge took over leadership. Though the group has faded, it still exists, maintaining a few thousand members and attempting to recruit more. The White Aryan Resistance was a white supremacist and neo-Nazi organization in the US, founded and led by former Ku Klux Klan Grand Dragon Tom Metzger. Based in Indiana, WAR functioned as a movement and business, even expanding into Canada in 1993. The group openly embraced racism, using the slogan, "Let them hate as long as they fear," a quote from the Roman Emperor Caligula. Metzger actively recruited racist skinheads in the 80s, calling the US government the #1 enemy of the white race and advocating for the cleansing of non-whites. WAR gained national attention when 3 group members murdered an Ethiopian student in 1988. A civil lawsuit held Metzger and WAR responsible, effectively dismantling the organization. However, the name White Aryan Resistance still appears among racist prison gangs in the western US and Arkansas. The National Alliance was a neo-Nazi political organization founded in 1974 by William Luther Pierce and based in Mill Point, West Virginia. At its peak in 2002, it had around 2,500 members and an annual income of $1 million, but after Pierce's death that same year, the group splintered in 2005 and largely collapsed. In 2016, Thomas Mair, an alleged member of the National Alliance, murdered British Labour politician Helen Cox. The Rusich Group is a Russian far-right neo-Nazi paramilitary unit fighting in the Russia-Ukrainian War. Founded in 2009 by self-proclaimed Nazi Alexei Mishakov from St. Petersburg, the group operates within the Wagner Group, which has also tolerated neo-Nazi elements. Wagner's own founder, Dmitry Utkin, sported SS tattoos. Rusich has been active in the Donbas War since 2014, specializing in reconnaissance and sabotage. In 2017, its militants were photographed in Palmyra, Syria, giving Nazi salutes. Rusich Telegram channel is filled with racist, anti-Ukrainian and anti-Western rhetoric, boasting about atrocities and promoting Russian racial superiority. The Azov Brigade, originally formed as the Azov Battalion in May 2014, started as a self-funded volunteer militia under Andrei Bieletsky to fight Russian-backed forces in the Donbas War. By November 2014, it was formally integrated into Ukraine's National Guard. Azov has been at the center of controversy due to its early ties to far-right groups and neo-Nazi ideology, with its founder Bielitsky previously making racist statements. The unit has used symbols linked to Nazism, such as the Wolfsangel and the Black Sun, both popular neo-Nazi emblems. Reports have shown Azov fighters wearing Nazi symbols on their uniforms and as tattoos, including Nazi swastikas or SS runes. There have also been alleged ties between Azov and American white supremacist groups. While some argue that Azov has since distanced itself from its extremist roots, others believe elements of the far-right ideology persist within its larger political movement.